Hello and welcome to Thirsty Thursdays with a Therapist. My name is Jaleisha Gatling. I'm a couples therapist here in New York City, working with couples to help them unpack the baggage that gets in between their relationships. Today's topic on quenching the thirst in your relationship is how to get the most out of couples therapy. One of the things that I wanted to discuss in terms of how to get the most out of couples therapy is checking your expectations, like being really realistic about your expectations of therapy. And by that, I mean if you've had an issue, a reoccurring issue that has been causing significant conflict or has been swept under the rug for several months or even years, it is not realistic to expect to completely resolve or to feel immensely better about that issue or to have that issue be squashed within a matter of a couple of sessions. So many couples come in with a situation such as we haven't had sex in 8 months. I can't remember the last time we kissed. And yet after 3 sessions, they are wondering why they aren't totally reawakened with desire and passion for one another. When there are all these issues that led to that they have not yet addressed or really unpacked and talked about at the core of it. And so I really like to bring couples to reality when they come in, like wanting things to be fixed and resolved and to feel significantly better within a matter of a couple of sessions. It's just not realistic. And the longer that the issue has been happening, the longer it's been ignored, it's going to take more time and more work to undo a lot of the things that you have been doing to cope or manage that issue. And so that's number one, being really realistic with the issue that has been going on, the intensity of it, the length of it, and coinciding that with the energy and time that you put into therapy. The second thing that I want to talk about is being present in therapy. It's one thing to just show up. It's great to show up, to be on time, to make your sessions, but there's so much more to therapy that will be effective than just simply showing up and being there and participating. I'm talking about really being present, engaging, willing to be vulnerable, willing to go there, and willing to be really transparent about what you are hoping to get out of therapy, what scares you about working on this relationship, or what fears you have about maybe it not working out. I want to get all of that out in the open, because the more that we have out there in the safe space of therapy, the better and more effective that therapy can be for your goals for the relationship. And that brings me to another myth, a misconception that I think a lot of people have around couples therapy is that we would only go to couples therapy if we want to make this work, if we want to resolve this, if we think that we can. That's great and that's awesome. But a lot of couples have really benefited from coming to therapy in a way that they are not quite sure if they want to fix the relationship. They're not quite sure if they are compatible. They're not quite sure if they're able to heal from all of the wounds of the relationship, and they want to explore that. And so I really encourage couples to be super transparent about those fears and about the idea that you have to be like, yeah, I definitely want to make this work. I mean, I've had couples come in who are on the brink of breaking up or are pretty sure, maybe they're like 70% sure that they want to end this and move apart amicably, and they want help in making that transition, or they want to see if maybe there's something that they've missed that they haven't tried because they feel like they've tried everything, and that's okay. But it's super important that you're really transparent and honest about that in couples therapy, so one person isn't thinking, okay, we're definitely going in here, we're going to make this work, we're going to fix this relationship, and the other person has one foot out the door. And that can be a really difficult and uncomfortable conversation to have if you haven't already had that prior to coming to therapy. But this is the space to do it. And so I just wanted to really clear this myth that I think a lot of people have in terms of what couples therapy is about and who it can be for. It doesn't have to be for even a couple who's in high conflict, who isn't being intimate, who isn't having sex, who isn't sure that they want to be together, and who's fighting like cats and dogs. This could be for the couple who's getting along really great and who maybe just feels like roommates, and they're wondering what happened and they want to kind of reignite that spark. This could be for that couple who said, you know what, this is done. I think our journey together has ended, but we have kids and we have finances and things that are joined and logistics to work out in the apartment, and we might need some help navigating that in a healthy, amicable way. And maybe we want to learn why it didn't work out. Maybe we're not quite sure that we've have some takeaways and some really imperative tools and learning curves that we can pull from this relationship to help us as we move forward. Maybe we want to grieve this relationship together in therapy and really unpack some of the stuff that we haven't been able to put words to. There's so many different things that can come out of couples therapy, and it's not just one picture that tends to be out there as far as we're just fighting like cats and dogs and things are terrible and we're in crisis. That doesn't have to be the case. Last thing I want to say is it's really important to be honest about the stories that you have around therapy, which is, I guess, sort of tied to what I just talked about. But if you have had, say you've had a negative experience in the past with couples therapy or with individual therapy, you might have a really bad taste in your mouth. Maybe the therapist that you were with wasn't quite a fit for you. I encourage you to speak up about what you're needing and to the therapist. And assuming that they are professional, they should not take it personally, because every therapist is not a fit for every couple. Every therapist is not specialized or trained in what might be most helpful for you. And so do your due diligence and ask those questions and really get clear about what's important to you in a therapist and what you're hoping to get out of therapy, and be able to communicate that to the therapist and to be honest if it's not quite working out. But I really urge you to not give up, to really be intentional about finding a good fit. I'm not a fit for everybody. I'm not a fit for every couple, and I'll be most upfront about that. But I really like to keep that being a part of the conversation and dialogue within the therapeutic process, because it's super important. This is your relationship, okay? So try again. I'll end on that note. But I want to continue just with one more thing. I'm going to choose to shelf this until next week on Thirsty Thursdays, where I want to talk about how to make couples therapy work. How to make therapy work when you feel like your relationship could really benefit from it, when you can't make it work. I thought I wasn't doing my due diligence if I just talked about couples that live together or that are having these emotional blocks. What about couples where they want to go but they physically can't go, where there's a situation where perhaps one of them travels a lot for work, or they live long distance, maybe they live hours apart, perhaps one has a medical condition that prevents them from being able to come into the office. I want to talk about ways that I have navigated scenarios that are maybe not so common when you think of attending couples therapy, that can still make it work. I want to talk about those different circumstances that no one really talks about that can help you to make it to couples therapy and get the help for your relationship that you need, no matter what's going on. We're going to get really creative next week. So tune in then. And also, you guys, make sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube channel if you are not at this moment, because I am pumping out videos every week about different tools and tidbits, and I really don't want you guys to miss out on this. So make sure that you are on YouTube, that you're subscribed to my channel. Let's unpack therapy. And I will see you guys next Thursday when we talk about how to make it work when it can't work, Jaleisha. I'm going to show you how.